And that. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I can't even see if that's lit. Is that lit? Is this coming in? Hello? We good? We wait for people to pop in. We wait for them to say hi. 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 Hi, baby. Oh. I know you won't get that, baby. Hi, this is Coach MK of Another Mother Runners Train Like a Mother Club. That's www.trainlikeamother.club. And I have been getting some questions in my monthly programs. I have training programs, I have race prep programs, but my monthly plan is a little bit different. People in my monthly plan, right? They are not training for a specific event, but they reserve the right to race one or jump into one whenever they want to. And Thanksgiving happens to be one of those times when you can't actually beat your family with a frying pan, but you might be able to beat them at a turkey trot. Yay, turkey trot. So this, wanted to talk you through the logic for an adjustment to the monthly plan to account for a race. So you have two options here, regardless of which plan you're on. You have two strong, sorry for this, it's hard to focus all this and read with the baby that doesn't really want to be held like this in your arms. So, but this is what we got today, y'all. We're going to make it work. So you got two options. Number one, it's the race option, meaning you know right now that you want to give that 5K, 10K, not a half marathon, I wouldn't advise it, but a 5K or a 10K or a 5 mile, anything less than 7 miles in distance, I say go for it. Anything more than that, we really should have talked about this ahead of time, more than like a week in advance. So here's what you do. If you're going to race, and again, to be perfectly clear, with no room for interpretation, because a lot of y'all like to drive me nuts with that. This is 7 miles or less. 7 miles or less. So don't come at me and be like, oh, Coach MK, I ran a half marathon. Sorry, I live in Australia and we use not the metric system and I didn't know what 7 miles was, so I did this. Is it bad? Yes, it's probably bad, y'all. It's all good. If it's 7 miles or less, though, you're okay. Here's what you're going to do. If you're determined to race it and you know now that you want to give it race effort, you're going to go on Sunday the 18th. You're going to take it off because that's your off day as written. Monday the 19th. This is the only one that's complicated. I got 3 flavors of this plan. I've got Dina, Jennifer, and Lindsay. You ought to know at this point in the month if you're a Dina, a Jennifer, or a Lindsay. All 3 of you have the same instructions, but you have different time blocks. So, take the time block. If your Monday workout is 35 minutes, round it down to 30 just to keep the math okay. If your Monday run is 55 minutes, round it up to 60 just to make the math good. We're going to take the time block for that run, divide it by 3, okay? And the first third is going to be a slow warm-up. The last third is going to be a cool down. And in between, it's going to be a 1 minute, 1 minute at 5K pace, followed by 1 minute active recovery / jog. And 5K pace, to be super duper clear, because I know when I do math it scares people. Now at least to which my husband. But so your 5K pace is a theoretical number, because remember, I presume none of you actually know how to race, and that's okay. Not a judgment. So your 5K pace is 3 minutes per mile faster than your 140 pace. Again, don't spin out. You really want to spin out? There's so much you can spin out about in this world right now. Do not spin out about this. MK, but today my 140 pace was 12 minutes and 38 seconds. And then yesterday my pace was 12 minutes and 14 seconds. And I don't know. Which one do I use? Do I average them all out? I can take them all average and then I can calculate the area underneath. And then I can triangulate like, man, don't. Don't. Just eyeballing it is just fine. I don't need you to pick up a calculator because God knows I can barely do that with this in my arms, right? All you need to do, roughly speaking, if I were to knock on your door and say, hey, want to go for a jog? What's your 140 pace? Whatever number you would say to me, start there. Warm up there. Cool down there. This is pace driven. The heart rate is what it is. Okay? Warm up at that pace, cool down at that pace. In between, take that for 3 minutes faster than that pace. We're going to use that as your 5K pace. Hold it for a minute, jog for a minute. Again, don't overthink this and don't go nuts. Okay? It is literally just, if this is 20 minutes, that's 10 sets. 10 sets of 1 minute hard. All you can do is get a little tired. You can't actually do damage or screw up. We need to avoid mental injuries as much as we do physical ones because the mental ones take way longer to heal. Especially if what you get out of this is, I'm not good at math, or MK thinks I'm not good at math. This is not real math, y'all. This is just like spitballing and throwing something on a whiteboard your husband put in your dining room. Okay? So that's Monday. Monday is just going to be firing up and finding that pace and mentally preparing yourself for this horrifying thing you're getting ready to do. Remember who doesn't race 5Ks? This girl, right? Never again. Tuesday, 30 minutes, easy effort, plus strides. Why strides? Neuromuscular coordination. It's just firing up those fast twitch muscles, getting ready appropriately for a race that is 7 miles in distance or less, right? Day 3, you're not going to do anything but strides. Get up, get dressed, run out the door, do your strides, and then be like, yay, I'm done. That was amazing. Why can't I do this every day? Because Thursday you find out why you can't do it every day. Because if you did this every day, you wouldn't be ready for this. Woohoo! This is awful. Run that race, and when I say run it blind, you can wear the watch if you want to and record the data, but I don't want you looking at it throughout the race. Run it by feel. Y'all run yourselves way harder. Hey, baby. Hey. No, Violet. No, Violet. No, Violet. No, Violet. I love you, Violet. No. You guys run yourselves. No, I said no. And you don't speak English yet. I know this is so hard. So hard. You guys run yourselves way harder than I ever would. Before I came along, y'all was pushing yourselves harder on your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday runs, just any old, good old midday run, harder than I ever would. So I'm going to trust you just for Thanksgiving Miracle. Take off that watch and go as hard as you want to, as fast as you want to. Let's just see what you can do. But if your legs aren't jelly at the end, if your ankles don't hurt, if your lungs don't burn, if it doesn't feel like lactic acid is pooling in your arms, legs, and booty like battery acid, that is what it feels like. It is terrible. Then you didn't go hard enough. Finish it all out, leave everything on the course every step of the way. Remember, go back to that podcast I recorded with Dimity in June of 2016. I talked about a 5-mile race I did in the summer for a qualifying time for the New York City Marathon. For the corral I wanted in the New York City Marathon. That is a long separate story. Point of that story was I wanted to drop out every half mile of that race. This is terrible. This hurts. This is awful. But I'm on pace, so I'm staying in. This hurts. This is terrible. This is awful. If I'm off pace, I'm quitting because ain't no reason to feel this way if I'm not going to get what I want. Oh, too bad. I'm on pace. On and on and on and on and on until I finished, got the time that I wanted for the seating that I needed. That is really what you need to feel like when you go out there. If you don't want to quit every step of the way, there's something wrong with you. All right? You're not racing it hard enough. At the same time, don't sprint 100 meters. Remember, this is 3 miles. If you're running at easy effort, how long would it take you to run 3 miles? If your easy effort pace is 12-minute miles, that's 36 minutes. Let's start there. This could be 36, 45, whatever minutes of running. Pick a pace and an effort that you feel like you can sustain for that long. Now remember, everything feels good in the beginning. It's what you're making a bet with every football. What's going to feel okay and somewhat manageable at the end. I'd rather you go a little conservative in the beginning and a little hard in that fast mile, but you really need to be hurting all the way through. There you go. After you've done that, just for the sake of your tendons and joints and ligaments, I really want you to rest. The most you can do, go to the mall and walk through a Black Friday or something. Like, get up and move, but don't bounce on those ankles because if you've raced this properly, you're going to hurt and you need to take care. 1 second. Violet. No, Violet. I love you, Violet. Goodness gracious. Okay. So, if there are any questions about that so far, throw them in the chat. I hope I'm covering everything. So that's option 1. You want to race this thing. Option 2 is YOLO, meaning you don't know, you don't care, you aren't sure yet. If you aren't sure yet, you need to figure it out by Wednesday. Because if you think you might want to race it and have anything you can talk about, you really need to have taken Wednesday off or at least made it easy effort. If you do something hard like the dust bath workout, dust bath, FYI y'all, is awful. Trying to race the day after that, you're not going to want it. So you need to decide before you go for a run on Wednesday morning what you're going to do. Because if you're going to treat this like an easy effort run, or you're going to run it with your 12-year-old niece and your grandmother and your great-grandmother because you're lucky enough that both are still alive and you can't believe they moved, awesome. With your mother, with your grandmother and your great-grandmother and your 12-year-old niece pushing a kid in a jogging stroller, you're probably not going to go full race effort. You're going to be out there talking and laughing and posing for the photographers and having fun because you will probably get into Runner's World. They will probably give you a feature if you run this thing with your grandmother and your great-grandmother and your niece and your 12-year-old niece and a 2-year-old in a jogging stroller and a baby on top. So there's that. If that is your situation, you're probably not giving this race effort. And again, that's okay. But if we're not giving this race effort, we change nothing. You go through this week. This is just an optional YOLO fun run you toss in on top of it. And then take stock of how you feel on Friday. If you need Friday off, take it, pick it up on Saturday, and keep moving. That's it. Whenever we're in the monthly plan, when we're in any training plan, we change as little as possible. Because the second you start worrying about which workouts are the most important and which ones have to be done, when life gets in the way, you're going to get a mental injury that I can't fix because I'm never going to be able to convince you that what you decided to push aside was the right thing. Okay, and that anxiety does not belong in your running because if you're not trying to do this to get the money to pay your mortgage, you're worrying too much. Yay! Thank God we're not elite. That is pressure, yo. Pressure is a privilege, but we can expect great things from ourselves. We can be strong and fit and go have fun without having to deal with the inordinate pressure some of you guys put on every single event that you sign up for. If it costs $35, you're going to get your money's worth from being there and wearing a really ugly turkey sweater and donating things, canned goods, because a lot of them take up offerings, right? Go there and give canned goods to families in need. Help out in a shelter. There's so many ways to get your $35 worth without having to demand it from yourself and your performance. Because guess what? It's a turkey trot. It's fun. If anything, you should be pleasantly surprised. If you're not pleasantly surprised, oh well, make the best of it. Just don't worry about it. It's Thanksgiving. Be thankful for legs that work, races that you can enter, living in a place with living in a place that even offers a race to participate in, and having family to ignore. Yay! There's that. That's about as clear as I can make it. If there are any further questions, again, throw them in the chat. I'm about to read these comments. Unless Violet decides to climb those stairs, she better not climb those stairs. Otherwise, you're coached, you're loved, you're winning at life, you got your marching orders. Yay! Race blind, that's right. Yeah. You're racing to skip out on dust bath. Thanks, Axelrod. Thank you. That's the Harvard in you right there. Being efficient. Love it. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to take this baby and feed her. Love you. See you later for either strength, ask the coach, or foam rolling tonight. Maybe all three. You never know.